FPL managers, what is up guys? Today we are looking at my Game Week 21 team selection and the 2 free transfers I made. Let's get into the video. Now guys, we've got to start this one off by looking at the team without any changes made. Now I know what you're thinking first of all. Borders, that's a nice FPL team you got there. Thank you very much. I know, but amidst all these great players, there's a couple tough fixtures in here, I'm not going to lie. Most notably, one fixture sticks out like a sore thumb, the toughest fixture in the game in my humble opinion, especially for the attackers. Playing away to Arsenal. That Arsenal defence, guys, it's just ridiculous. It's not something you really want to be playing against whatsoever. But I also really like Solanke as an FPL asset. He's got some good fixtures coming up, and he is not a player I'm going to want to sell anytime soon. So, what do I do? And if you saw the transfer plans video, you would know roughly what I want to do. Like, I want to use the players on my bench in Gavardio, Winks and Bassi to bring in a new midfielder that can cover for Solanke for this game week. But not just this game week when Solanke plays away to Arsenal in game week 21, but also when Morgan Rogers plays away to Arsenal in game week 22. So this player's next 2 fixtures, they need to be good. And he also needs to be a solid medium to long-term option for me. Now you would originally think, okay, you've got Gavardio and Bassi, you need to downgrade one of those so you can spend more money on a midfielder. And I've already got 0.5 million in the bank. And you must think, okay, well Gavardio is the only one who you can really make money off. You must sell him, especially because he's got a bad fixture run coming up. I mean, Gavardio and Bassi are pretty much both planks of wood at this point, I'm not going to lie. I don't plan on using them too much. I mean, Gavardio's got a good game week in game week 22, that's about it. But I realised something, okay? The medium to expensive priced midfielders, they're not good. They kind of suck. The cheap players, the cheap midfielders, well, they ain't too shabby, I'm not going to lie. They offer great value for money, they're pretty good. And I would much rather bring in someone who is cheap and great value for money and keep Gavardio for his good game week in game week 22 when he plays against Ipswich. So, let's go take a look at what I did with my 4 free transfers. I mean, you already know I only used 2 transfers, and guys, I sold Calvin Bassi and I went down to Greaves, saving me 0.6 million. Added to the 0.5 I already had in my bank, that's 1.1 million in it. It doesn't seem like much, but selling Harry Winks, costing 4.5, that puts me up to 5.6. That is in range of an Amad Diallo purchase. Yes guys, I know. Big money moves, we're making plays. Now that means I have 3 midfielders under 6 million that also want to start in my team because they're all great value for money, and it kind of puts me in a weird place where I can't really afford a mid-price midfielder unless I sell Palmer or Salah. But like I said guys, I have no interest in any of these mid-price midfielders whatsoever, so it doesn't bother me. Also, I am like having free transfers in abundance right now, so I can easily like maneuver my entire team, no problem whatsoever. Also guys, I am a Manchester United fan, and it's very rare in this day and age that you can, you know, bring in a Manchester United player with valid reason. So when an opportunity presents itself, I have to seize it. There's nothing like cheering on your favourite club while a great FPL differential is playing for that club as well. Nothing beats it until your team plays home to Southampton and loses 1-0, which is the most likely scenario here when bringing in Amad Diallo, but hopefully Amad Diallo can get some points and United can get a result. Now, you guys have seen a rough version of the team, but we're going to talk about the rest of the team in detail now. We're going to start with the goalkeeper and the defence, starting with Robertson Sanchez. Now, guys, I'm not going to lie. I think Robertson Sanchez, he's a bit of a prick. And, you know, not because of how he is as a guy. I'm sure he is a lovely fella. But he keeps getting clean sheet wipeouts in the 80th minute. And it's just pointless because I sit there getting my hopes up, staring at the goal notification, seeing Chelsea haven't conceded a goal until it gets to like the 86th minute. And they decide to concede to a team like Crystal Palace or Fulham. You know, it's kind of frustrating. I mean, if you're going to concede, mate, just do it in the first 10 minutes so I don't waste my time hoping for some points. Like, I check the live FPL app, I check my live rank because I'm a weird dude like that, I'm obsessed. And I see Sanchez on for a 9-pointer with a few minutes to go and I'm so happy. Laughing at my friends, their goalkeeper's got 2 points. All for Sanchez to go and get 2 points alongside him. It's a disgrace. But yeah, with that being said, he's a cool dude, I like him, I believe in him, and you know, he's not got too hard of a game this game week, so hopefully he can come away with some points. In the defence, Trent is kind of a worry as well. I mean, he plays a tough fixture, but Forest are tough mainly because of how well they defend, not because of how well they attack. So this could be a low scoring game. Trent could come away with a clean sheet, but honestly, the hopes aren't too high for this game week. Also, with Conor Bradley coming back from injury and Trent having a bit of a stinker against Man United, it makes him a slight rotation risk. I mean, I'm not too scared yet because he's got a double game week coming up anyway, so he's definitely not on my list of players to sell. But if he starts becoming a bench player at 7 million for a defender, definitely someone I'm going to be selling. So hopefully Trent holds his place in the starting 11, which is probably the most likely scenario. Next up, we got man like Mazraoui. You know, I like to call him Mazza. We're close like that. Anyway, Mazraoui has been useless ever since I brought him in for my Game Week 12 wildcard. I mean, what's he done? He's been subbed off early when Man United have kept a clean sheet, or played the entire 90 when we haven't kept a clean sheet. He can't make his mind up and he can't get me points. He's also been rotated now and then, but for this game, home to Southampton, with Mazraoui starting the last few game weeks, even more than the last few game weeks, the last 5 or 6, as a wing back, that's a bit of assist potential, and that's definitely some clean sheet potential there, because Southampton are the worst attack in the league. I mean, who would have thought the team on 5 points after 19 games is the worst in the league? I mean, go figure. Anyway, yeah, hopefully Mazraoui starts. Hopefully he doesn't get subbed off before the 60th minute. Hopefully he gets me some points finally, because this is kind of his last chance. Like, if he doesn't do anything home to Southampton, he's not doing anything against anyone. With Gabriel, there's honestly not much to say, guys. An Arsenal clean sheet doesn't mean much for me. There's a lot of people out here with a double Arsenal defence. There's some people out here with no Arsenal defenders. So in terms of effective ownership, the Arsenal clean sheet does almost nothing for me at all. If Gabriel gets a goal or an assist, which is possible, then I'm grateful for it. I'm going to welcome it with open arms. But honestly, I'm not fussed about how Arsenal do. I may get a second Arsenal defender, so their defence actually means something, but playing home to Tottenham, then playing home to Aston Villa, they're not too bad. You know, like I said in previous videos, Arsenal can keep a clean sheet against absolutely anyone. But for some reason, they can see like 1 shot on target per game and they always end up conceding from it. So I'm not really convinced enough to get 2 Arsenal defenders just yet, but it could happen. Now we're looking at the midfield. The first person we'll talk about is Salah. Guys, Salah, as you can see, he is not my captain. He is not getting the captain's armband this game week, which means he is not in my team, guys. He is just a massive threat to my rank. The biggest threat to my rank. His effective ownership is going to be nearly 200%. And if you guys don't know what that means, his effective ownership being that high when he's not my captain means he has the ability to absolutely destroy me. So yeah, boo. We don't like Salah, guys. Salah is not our friend. Well, at least he's not my friend. If you're wondering why he's not my captain and you're wondering who is going to be my captain, you can see later in this video, but my last video, I did a whole video dedicated on as to who should be your captain for Game Week 21, and the conclusion was not Salah. We did that in depth, so go check that out if you're interested and still debating on as to whether who you should captain out of Salah, Palmer and Isak. Talking about Palmer, I'm guessing his effective ownership is going to be like 100%, which basically means if I own him, he's not going to affect me at all. Like, it's not going to hurt me, it's not going to help me. If you don't own him, he's going to kill your rank. If he's your captain and he does really well, he's going to massively boost your rank. For me, he's just sitting here not being a captain. So yeah, Cole Palmer, whatever he does, it doesn't matter. If he gets 50 points, guys, honestly, like, lucky I have him so he doesn't kill my rank. But honestly, it's not going to help me that much either because everybody else has him. And rightfully so, to be fair. Even though he's on bad form, he's a solid player. But because of his bad form, I really wouldn't recommend using him as a captain against Bournemouth, who have a pretty solid defence. Now, guys, we got the trio of cheap midfielders here. I like to call them the 3 musketeers. We got Ismaili Sarr, Morgan Rogers and Amad Diallo. We've obviously talked a bit about Amad Diallo already. He's coming in for Game Week 21 to cover for Solanke, playing away to Arsenal, then does the same for Rogers in Game Week 22, who's also playing away to Arsenal. So we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone with that one. Even in the next game week, he plays home to Brighton, who are off form, which is good. So Amad Diallo's got 2 great fixtures. It's a great entry point for him. As for Morgan Rogers and Ismaili Sarr, in their expected data, things are quite different, I noticed. Ismaili Sarr gets the expected data, but he's not been pulling in the points as much as of late. Whereas Morgan Rogers in his last 3 game weeks has got 4 goal involvements with expected data not looking so tasty. The only thing I can put this down to really is the fact that Morgan Rogers is a little more clinical of a player and he's surrounded by better finishers than Ismaili Sarr, so he doesn't need many expected assists or many expected goals to get some points. Morgan Rogers, for me, how much he's costing, is easily the best value player in the game. I don't plan on selling him at all, even through his tough games like playing away to Arsenal, playing away to Chelsea. I didn't sell him because I knew big things were coming his way, and it's rare he ever goes more than 3 game weeks without a return. I mean, I was looking at his points the other day. If you guys check it out, in fact, you know what, I'll put him up on the screen. It's so rare he has multiple blanks in a row. He's always so consistent the entire season. Someone that's basically as cheap as a bench player, you know, costing you 1 mil more than the cheapest midfielder in the game, why would you not bring him in? Doesn't make any sense, really. As for Ismaili Sarr, he's been in my team for like 2 weeks. Not done much for me, but the hope's there because, like I said, guys, the underlying data is there. And I'm a big underlying data guy, you know, I look at the stats, I'm a bit of a nerd like that, and it normally works for me. I say it works for me, I did just go from top 60k to 110k in 1 game week, so clearly there's some flaws in my plans here, but overall, it normally does a good job. So yeah, overall on the midfield, Salah hurts the rank, Palmer does nothing, Ismaili Sarr, Morgan Rogers and Amad Diallo is where the big rank comes in. I need these guys to return more than anyone else. If all three of them return, I'm thankful, I'm very grateful, but we have to understand all of these players cost under 6 mil, and they cost under 6 mil for a reason. They're not like huge players. They're not the same as like Bruno Fernandes, who's on penalties and can get goals and assists. These guys are most likely only going to get 1 goal involvement per game if they get a return. But that's fine because they're costing me basically nothing. And they enable me to afford players like Salah, Palmer, Isak, all in the same team, you know, Trent, Jackson, you know. I've got lots of expensive players thanks to these guys. Talking about Isak, guys, let's go on to that front line. Now, Isak is my captain. I mean, you probably guessed it already, especially if you watched the last video where I pretty much told you he is the best captaincy option. This guy, you know, we've got history. He has not let me down all season. It was a while ago where I backed him. I think it was right before his haul against Liverpool, the 12-pointer, pretty much where the goal scoring form all started. Like, I was there before it all happened, you know. I've been an OG to this guy. I saw it coming. He, in those first few game weeks before his ownership basically became 100% like Palmer's and Salah's, he was keeping my head above the water. I had some bad plays in my team, but his returns week in, week out were so heroic. So it's time I return him the favour by showing my faith in him and giving him the captain's armband like he truly deserves. I mean, some of you are going to disagree with this captaincy option, and I don't blame you. It's risky. If you're like top 10k already and you want to hold rank, definitely go with the safer option. But if you're like me and you got big balls and you want to gain some rank and you look at the stats to make your decisions, go with Isak. You won't regret it. But if you do, don't blame me. And finally, we got Nicholas Jackson. I don't know why I keep faith in this guy. I really don't. I mean, he gets the expected goals, he gets the big chances, and he's not been putting them away. So it's a likely chance that Nkunku starts over him, but I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, if I had to guess, I would say Jackson starts. That's why I'm keeping him. The fact is he's getting the expected goals, and for most of the season, he's been consistent, so we know he can score. It's just, we've got to catch him on the right day. And playing 2 home games to Bournemouth, 1 to Wolves in the next 2 game weeks, I simply cannot sell Nicholas Jackson for those 2 game weeks. When it comes to Man City away, if he's still being a bit of a twat and not getting any points, that's when we'll talk about selling Nicholas Jackson. But for now, I'm here for him. I'm riding for him. He's my guy. Anyway, guys, if you did make it this far, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.